ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We can repeat. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
फलेषु कदाचन कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्तः कुरु कर्माणि
योगस्तः कुरु कर्माणि
संगं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय
त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय
सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा
सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा
समत्वं योग उच्यते
समत्वं योग उच्यते।
दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म
दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म
बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जय
बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जय
बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ
बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ
कृपणाः फलहेतवः
कृपणाः फलहेतवः
बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह
बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह
उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते
हे सुकृतदुष्कृते
तस्माद् योगाय युज्यस्व
तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व
योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्
योगकर्मसु कौशलम्
कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि
कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि
फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः
फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः
जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः
जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः
पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम्
पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम्।
This we have seen. Karmajam palam tyaktva manishinaha buddhiyuktaha jnaninaha janmabandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti anamayam padam gacchanti. We have seen this shloka, the last shloka in the last class. That is manishinaha. Manishinaha here means buddhiman. Manishinaha means jnani, but here it's not a jnani, he's a wise person because he has understood the importance of karma yoga. He knows the technique of doing the karma, the technique of converting the karma to a karma yoga. Therefore, he is a wise person. Manishinaha. He is endowed with the buddhi. What buddhi? Yoga buddhi. Yoga buddhi. Yoga. This yoga buddhi, the person endowed with the yoga buddhi, he will have natural appreciation for Bhagavan. Because for him there is nothing other than Bhagavan. Everything is Ishvara Aradhana. So bhakti is not a separate yoga. There are no many yogas, only two yoga. One is Jnana yoga, other one is Karma yoga. All other yogas, whatever may be the yoga we come across, the name, they all can come under Karma yoga if it is a sadhanam, if they are meant to gain certain, they are meant to gain the mental, the preparedness. If they are meant for that, then we can bring them under Karma yoga. Like Ashtanga yoga, Patanjali Ashtanga yoga, Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, that Ashta Anga, they are also Karma yoga. Because through that, Yama, Niyama, etc., do's and don'ts, preparing the mind, preparing you for the pursuit of Jnana. It's a Karma yoga. Bhakti, that also Karma yoga only. There is no doing bhakti. Bhakti is not a separate yoga in which you do Ishvara Aradhana. What about the Karma Yogis? What do? They also do the same thing. They also have Bhakti for Bhagavan. Therefore, only they look upon the karma as the Aradhanam. Aradhanam of the Ishvara, Bhagavan. Only when that Ishvara, that Ishvara Darshanam, that the vision of everything is Ishvara, Bhagavan, then only you can do Karma Yoga. You can be a Karma Yogi. So a bhakta can only really be a Karma Yogi because he has got the appreciation of Bhagavan. There's nothing other than Bhagavan. Everything functions under the law, or the order of Bhagavan. So every law, physical law or psychological law, any laws, they are nothing but they are the manifestation of Ishvara. When there is a law, Newton's first law, second law, third law, so many laws are there, gravitational law. All these laws are nothing but the order, the manifestation of Bhagavan. This order, this harmony in the order, that is Bhagavan. Nobody can invent a new law. Only one can discover the hidden law. So new inventions can be made, but new discovery means nothing. That thing new can be discovered. Whatever it is there, which is covered, it can be discovered. So any invention made that has to conform to the laws, the existing laws. No human being can create any new law. So everything functions under the law, the order of Ishvara. That is Ishvara. The one who has appreciation for that is a bhakta, is a karma yogi. Therefore, when he does karma, he knows so many laws are there behind that functioning, behind that which gives him the karma pala. So over which he doesn't have any control. He's a small being, human being is a small person. What he can do? He can only perform action. That much he has, that much free will Bhagavan has given. And that also is limited. It's not completely free. It's not completely free to do any action. With whatever the setup is there, within that, he can use his free will to do karma. Looking upon that as the aradhana, that is yoga buddhi, buddhi yuktaha iti. That is the karma yogi. His goal is moksha. Therefore, palam tyaktva is not interested in the limited result. Is interested in the unlimited result. The purnatvam, the jnanam. Therefore, palam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti. They attain that padam, that jnanam, anamayam padam, that is free from anamayam, that is free from problem. So by following karma yoga, the person through jnanam gains that padam, that moksha padam. That is what the 51st shloka says, which we saw in the last class. Now continuing the next shloka. Yada te moha kalilam
Yada te moha kalilam
buddhir vyatitarishyati
buddhirvatitarishyati
tada gantasi nirvedam
tada gantasi nirvedam
shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Next shloka also we will read. Shruti vipratipanna
Shruti
श्रुतिविप्रतिपन्नाते
यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला
यदा
यदा
चला
स्थास्यति निश्चला
समाधावचला बुद्धिः
समाधावचला बुद्धिः
तदा योगम् अवाप्स्यसि
तदा
अयोगम्
योगम्
अवाप्स्यसि
यदा ते मोहकलिलम् यदा मोहकलिलं ते मोहकलिलं यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिः व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं. So yada tada is it. Yada buddhihi vyatitarishyati. Mogakalilam vyatitarishyati. Whose buddhi? Te buddhihi. Yada te buddhihi vyatitarishyati. Mogakalilam. Tada nirvedam gantasi. With regard to shrotasya, shrotavyasya, shrutasya cha. What does it mean? That is, here the topic is Karma Yoga. Talks about Karma Yogi. We know that after the 39th shloka, Bhagavan Krishna talks about Karma, Karma Yoga Buddhi, Karma, therefore Karma Yoga and Karma Yogi is talking about here. When he refers to the person here, it is Karma Yogi. So, what happens to the Karma Yogi? If he keeps on doing this karma as Ishvara Aradhanam, Ishvararpana Buddhya, Prasada Buddhya, it does karma. What happens to that person, Karma Yogi? He becomes free from Moha Kalilam. Moha Kalilam. Moha is delusion. What is this delusion? Delusion is Viveka Abhavaha is delusion. That Moha is absence of that Viveka. Viveka Buddhi. Absence of Viveka is Moha. A person is under Moha. Why? He doesn't have this Viveka Buddhi. What is Viveka? That Viveka, the word from the Vichir Dhatu. The one who is not able to clearly discern what a thing is, what an object is. That person is the Aviveki. That is superimposing the desired attributes on something that which really doesn't have those attributes. This person superimposes and therefore he has raga or dvesha, both. It can be both. He can superimpose the desired attributes as well as the undesired attributes on a thing, and therefore he can have raga and dvesha. That is what mainly happens in the relationship. What is really not there, that is not seen. What is really not there, that is not looked at. You imagine something to be present, and therefore you have moha. That is aviveka. That is adhyasa. That is superimposition. That is aviveka. Not all the superimpositions are bad. You see, superimpose Lord Shiva on a Shivalinga. That is also a adhyasa, adhyaropa. Shivalinge, Shivadhyanam. Shivalinge, Shivadhyanam. That is also adhyaropa, but that is not a that is required for a bhakta. Similarly, Shalagrame Vishnu, adhyaropitam. The Shalagrama, you superimpose Vishnu, that becomes an object of worship. You look upon that Shalagrama as the form of Vishnu. It becomes worshipable then. It becomes an object of worship for you. That is also superimposition. But those are good. Those are out of bhakti, but not out of bhakti and all. Out of moha, when there is superimposition, looking upon something as something else. That is moha. That is because of aviveka. So therefore, aviveka is the lack of viveka. That only makes a person engage in a pursuit or disengage from a pursuit for both pravritti and nivritti. For pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti for sukham, nivritti from dukkham. Pravritti is going after. Nivritti is leaving behind, getting rid of. Nivritti. Getting is pravritti. Getting rid of is nivritti. Getting what? Sukham. Sukha praptaye pravrittihi. Dukkha nivrittaye nivrittihi. What makes a person goes after sukham or refrain from dukkham? That is because of this aviveka, because he sees an object or a person as a source of sukham, as a source of joy. Therefore, there is a pravritti. Therefore, he goes towards that person or object. That is pravritti. That is aviveka. Similarly, he moves away or getting rid of things. That is also because of aviveka. He sees something which is not there. He sees something undesired which is really not there. This is delusion. This is delusion, which because of the absence of viveka. This is called moha. So, and that is a kalila. That is the impurity. Kalilam means impurity. Kali yuga, we say. Kali yuga, that adharma will be dominant. That's why Kali dosha. So, kalilam. Kalilam means malam. Malam is impurity. So, kalilam. Yada te moga kalilam. Kalilam. The moga is a kalila. So, moga eva kalilam. Moga kalila means moga, this delusion, this absence of viveka, that is kalilam. So that moha is the kalilam, that is the impurity. So this aviveka is the alushyam, it is the impurity, moha kalilam. Te moha kalilam. They referring to the karma yogi. You, when you are moha kalilam, yada te moga kalilam, buddhihi vitarishyati. Your te buddhihi moga kalilam vitarishyati. When your buddhi, when your understanding, when your buddhi goes above, goes beyond this moga kalila, this delusion, this moga, the moga is because of wrong understanding. So when your buddhi goes above, when it goes beyond this wrong understanding, Vyatitarishyati crosses over. You go above that, go beyond that. Vyatitarishyati. It means the person becomes free from this moha kalila by viveka. He becomes free from this moha kalila, from this hold of this moha by viveka. Then yada te buddhi, your intellect, your buddhi, vititarishati, cross over this moga kalila, then what happens to you? Tada, then nirvedam gantasi. Tada, you gain nirvedam. Nirvedam is an important word in the Shruti, in the Mundaka Shruti, Upanishad. You see the word Parikshalokan, Karmachitan, Brahmanaha, Nirvedam, Ayat. Nirvedam. Nirvedam means dispassion. Nirvedam means vairagyam. Vairagyam towards things, towards people. That is vairagyam. Vairagyam is not avoiding them, not shunning people or relationship. Vairagyam is, the literal translation is dispassion. Better translation is objectivity. Looking upon a thing or object or a person as it is. Don't superimpose something else on that which is not really there. Only when you have that superimposition, you imagine that to be there. Therefore, you have raga or dvesha. Both raga and dvesha. Raga is love. Dvesha is dislike. Like and dislike. Both are because of this adhyasa. You love something because there is shobhana adhyasa. There is a thinking on your part that the thing or the person is great. Therefore, you have love for it. Similarly, you think the person or a thing is not great, it is ugly, because again, you have got some adhyasa, you have got some superimposition, you superimpose something. So, therefore, nirveda means be free from that. It means have objectivity. You look upon a thing or a person as it is. Don't superimpose your imagination. Don't visualize something which is not there, whether it is good or bad, both. So vairagyam is objectivity. That is the best translation. Looking upon a thing as it is. That is vairagya, objectivity. Most of the time in our daily activity, we look upon a thing not as it is. Always we have an agenda. Always we do superimpose something on the thing and deal with that. Actually, we are dealing with our own imagination. Really speaking, we are not dealing with the person or the object. We are dealing with our own imagination and fight. That is why the constant chattering going on in the mind. The thing or the object, the person really doesn't have those qualities. You superimpose those qualities and you have love, like or dislike. If dislike is there, you fight. How do you fight? You don't fight with the person or the object directly. You fight with yourself. Therefore, it is you are living in your own world because you don't have objectivity. Therefore, when your buddhi, when your mind, because of karma yoga, crosses this delusion, crosses this aviveka, which is the mala, which is the impurity, then you gain nirvedam. Nirvedam, objectivity, gantasi. Gantasi means you go. You are not going, you gain, you accomplish, you gain. You gain nirvedam, this passion. With regard to what? With regard to shrotavya, shrutasya cha. So here, shrotavya, shruta. It is not the shruti, shrotavyasya, shrutasya cha. What has been heard and what should be heard with regard to both. What has been heard, that is whatever you have experienced, with regard to that, you have objectivity, you have vairagyam, and whatever to be heard, shrotavya means in the future, you will come across new objects, new persons, new situations. With regard to that also, you have vairagyam. So have vairagyam with regard to both. Have objectivity with regard to both. When can you have objectivity? Only when your buddhi crosses over this, only when the buddhi goes beyond this aviveka. So buddhi should be endowed with viveka. Buddhi should be endowed with viveka. Then only you can enjoy this objectivity. When viveka is not there, then you will be under moha. Then objectivity will not be there. You will be busy in samsara, dealing with the people, dealing with the situations all the time. That is samsara, dealing with people. When dealing with people becomes a difficult thing, then it is samsara. The person is not dexterous in handling the situation, handling the people. That is an indication of samsara. No complaining will help. You are not able to deal with the people or the situation. It means That shows the lack of the Viveka. Viveka Buddhi is not there. Even when things are not controllable, when things are out of your control, anyway, you cannot do anything, be quiet. Because you are not able to do, you need not get agitated also. So all this maturity will come when you develop more and more objectivity. So the objectivity is important. That is what here, that is the first or the second. First is Viveka, followed by this Nirveda, this Vairagya. The second qualification required for a sadhaka. And that is developed through Karma Yoga, or to be developed through Karma Yoga. So, therefore, the samsara is a Mahamoha. Samsara is Mahamoha. What is that Mahamoha? Taking oneself to be a limited jiva, a samsari, not knowing the true nature of oneself. Agam nityamuktaha nityamukta svabhavaha atma. Agam purnaha. I am complete. I am free from any want. I am free from the sense of wanting. I am not a wanting person. I am complete. Agam purnaha. That is not known. That is a fact that is not known. Taking myself to be a limited person, that is adhyasa, that is superimposition, and trying to fulfill myself. Therefore, you engage in variety of the pursuit in the world. That is samsara. Any pursuit which comes out of compulsion from inside for fulfillment, that is samsara. That is aviveka. You are already complete, full. Purnaha, Shastram says. I don't know that. That is Mahamoha. That is a Kalila, that is a dosha. That by Buddhi, by Karma Yoga Buddhi, the one who crosses over that Mahamoha, that Kalilam, he gains objectivity with regard to what he has heard or experienced, Shrutasya, and what he will hear or what he will experience in future. With regard to both, he has got objectivity. It means he will not be carried over by any of those things. That is, he enjoys complete freedom. He is a mastery. He has gained mastery over the objects or the people or the situation. They cannot control him. He becomes the master, the controller of them. That is the Karma Yogi. So that is the goal. So the goal for that, Viveka is required. So Viveka Vairagya, the two, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, we have heard this word many times. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha is a sadhaka for this pursuit of Jnanam. Sadhana Chatushtaya is the fourfold qualifications we discussed. We have discussed very elaborately Tattva-bodha, Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi, Mumukshutvam iti, the fourfold qualifications required for a sadhaka. For every person, the qualifications required. For the pursuit of medicine, you required at least the science. You should have chosen biology as the main subject in plus 2. Qualification is that much qualification. For the PhD, you must have completed PG. That is a qualification. Similarly, here also, in Shastram also, for Jnanam, you should have this qualification. And the qualification is gained through Karma Yoga. And what are those qualifications? That is Viveka Vairagya, Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi, Mumukshutvam. In that, Viveka is first, followed by Vairagya. Viveka is pointed out by Moha. Absence of Viveka is Moha. So Buddhi Vititrishati means you be a Viveki. So Viveka is first. Then Vairagya, that is pointed out by the word Nirveda. So Viveka Vairagya, the two important, the prerequisite, the qualifications required for the pursuit of Jnanam is pointed out. Then only the person will enjoy relative mental freedom so that he is free to listen to Shastram. Listen to go to the to go to the Guru and listen to his words, or listen to the lectures or discourse. Only when the mind is free, then only the words can enter and give jnanam. So therefore, for a karma yogi, nirvedam, the karma yogi nirvedam gantasi iti. Continuing the next line, next shloka, that also we have read. Shruti vipratipannate yada stasiti nischala samadau achala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyati. Kada yogam avapsyati, tada yogam avapsyati. Yada shruti vipratipanna niste buddhihi nischala stasyati samadau achala buddhihi. That is, shruti vipratipanna, that your buddhi was vipratipanna. Vipratipanna is confused by. Shruti vipratipanna is confused, distracted by Shruti. Here Shruti doesn't mean to Shastram. You can take that as a Shastram, but what Shastram? You have to take it as a Karmakanda, because Karmakanda portion of the Veda prescribes you a varieties of means for different ends. As I told before, if you want a son, putra kameshti yajna. If you want a dhanam, for that yajna. For everything, for every desired thing or object, certain karmas are prescribed. So if you desire so many objects, so many karmas you have to do. So you will be busy in doing karma. Then what about the time for moksha? Not there. So you will be busy in doing karma because you have got variety of desires and varieties of karmas are there for different ends. You are busy even doing karma the whole day. You will not have time for yourself. Moksha is ruled out. Therefore, Shruti vipratipanna buddhihi, your buddhi, not confused by, not distracted by listening to the Karmakanda portion of the Veda. Karmakanda talks about varieties of means and ends, therefore not confused by them. Already we have talked about that, where in the same chapter, Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti vipashitaha iti, we saw that. So Veda talks about nicely about different ends. Swargaloka talks about Swargaloka, it presents in a way that anybody reading that would aspire to go there. For that you have to do karma, and that karma is not easy. If we want to go to Swargaloka, the karma which is prescribed by the Veda, you have to do. That is not easy. It has got main karma and other satellite rituals. It has to be done as it is stipulated by the Veda. It is not that much easy. Better you can listen to Vedanta and get moksha. That moksha becomes easy than going to Swargaloka. So let the buddhi be not troubled, not distracted by, not confused by listening to varieties of means and ends. Not only of the Shruti, even what you hear in the world. What you hear in the world, by that your buddhi may get distracted. Your buddhi may get distracted by the word, by the new electronic equipment may get distracted, a new mobile model, or when you hear the word this US or America, then buddhi is carried over by that, because that's a glamour in that. All these are distraction. So yada Shruti vipratipanna te buddhihi nischala stasyati. So when the buddhi will become unshakable, not distorted by not only the karmakanda, also with regard to anything in the laukika also, whatever you hear, whatever you listen to, by that the buddhi, when it is not shaken, when it is not distorted, when it is not distracted, yada stasyati, Shruti vipratipanna, when your buddhi becomes unshakable. Nischala means unshakable. When your buddhi becomes unshakable, because you are engaged in this pursuit of karma yoga and the study of shastra, therefore your buddhi, your commitment is so strong, therefore your buddhi is not shaken. So, therefore, when your buddhi is not shaken and your buddhi is firmly established, samadhu, achala buddhihi, firmly established in what? In this samadhi. What samadhi? Samadhi here means atma. Samadhu achala buddhihi. Samadhi is atma. What I seek after is myself. What I seek in life is myself. Aham purnaha, that jnanam only I seek. Therefore, when your buddhi is firmly established in this jnanam, atma jnanam, atma, samadhi is samyak adiyate asminiti atma. You have clarity about atma. You have clarity about this atma jnanam. You know what to do. You know the pursuit. You know what to do. Therefore, when there is clarity, about the means to gain this jnana, not that you are gained jnana. We are not talking about the one who has gained jnana. If he is a jnani, then for him karma yoga not required. To karma yoga, that jnana yogyata prapti, and through that only jnanam. So you have got certain clarity about this jnanam. Therefore, samadhu achala buddhihi, then only yogam avapsasi. Then only you will have yoga. You will enjoy this yoga. Yoga here means jnanam. You will have this viveka prajna. You will have the viveka prajna. Here yogam means not karma yoga. Here jnanam tada yogam avapsyasi. When your buddhi is firmly established in this jnanam, atma jnanam, then tada yogam avapsyasi. You will gain this viveka prajna, this abidance in this atma jnanam. That is, you will gain jnanam, enlightenment. You gain that wisdom. That wisdom, which is the goal, that is the meaning here for the word yoga. Paramartha yoga. Paramartha yoga, it is the result of karma yoga through upasana and jnanam. That also is there. So, karma yoga, karma yogena chitta shuddhi dwara jnana yogyata. That jnana yogam, that paramartha yogam, what is that jnanam? Is agam jagat karanam brahma asmi. I am not different from, I am not separate from Bhagavan, Ishvara. That is a jnana. That yogam avapsyasi. You gain that yoga. So, the journey of karma yogi finally culminates in jnanam. So, this is the connection. A karma yogi travel through karma, by doing karma, and his journey ends in jnanam. Tada yogam avapsyasi. So, therefore, yada shruti viprati panna buddhihi, your buddhi, when it is not distracted by anything, what you heard, either from the shruti or from the world, when your buddhi nischala samadho achala stasyati, when your buddhi is firmly established in this jnanam, then you become free. Yogam avapsyasi, you become a jnani, you become, while living, you are free, and after the fall of the body, you gain videha mukti, you become free forever. So while living, you are free. With the body, you are free. Then without body also, you continue to be free. So body doesn't matter. Body will undergo its has to undergo its karma, the prarabdha karma, whatever it is ordained for this shariram in this janma, it will undergo, and while living, you enjoy freedom. You are a jivan muktaha, jivan eva muktaha, jivan muktaha. Then after maranam, you continue to be free, videha muktaha. So therefore, karma yoga gives a person viveka and vairagyam. Through that jnana yogya prapti, then yogam jnanam avapsyasi. So therefore, what Bhagavan Krishna says through all this shloka is, by leading the life of karma yoga, one has to prepare oneself for jnana yoga, because jnana yoga, the pursuit of jnana yoga alone gives jnanam, and jnanam alone makes a person free. That is the the Tatparyam of Vedanta. That is why in the Veda also first Karma Kanda is there, and then Upasana, then Vedanta. Karma Yogena Chitta Shuddhi. By doing karma, gaining Chitta Shuddhi, gaining the purity of mind. Then by Upasana, gaining Chitta Naishchalya, the focus, the concentration. Upasana is meditation. What is meditation? Meditation is meditating on an object. It can be meditating on an object, but Shastra meditation is, Upasana is different. In the Karma Kanda and the Upasana Kanda, varieties of meditations are prescribed. Those are Shastra meditation. So any meditation you take, that is meant for the focus, focusing, stretching or extending our attention span. An object is required on which you have a fixed focus for a length of time. That is required. That is required. That is gained through Upasana yoga. Then Vedanta, that is Jnana. That is the scheme of Vedic lifestyle. So therefore, Karma Yoga takes a person to moksha through Jnanam. Karma Yoga gives the purity of mind. All the Raga Dvesha are taken care by this Karma Yoga. So the more and more the Raga Dvesha lose their power, you become more and more free. You become more and more free. You don't react, you respond to the situation. When you are free from Raga Dvesha, you don't react to the situation, you respond to the situation. If reaction is there, then Raga Dvesha is there. Because the reaction is immediate. If response is there, then the Raga Dvesha is sufficiently managed by you. That is the indicator. So the more and more Karma Yoga you do, there will be more and more this removal of this Raga Dvesha, all this Mala. That is the Chitta Shuddhi. That is called Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi is purification. What is that purification? Purification of mind. How the mind has to be purified. This is called Chitta Shuddhi. That Raga Dvesha neutralization, as Swamiji says. So Karma Yoga helps you to earn the grace of Bhagavan, and Raga Dvesha gets neutralized. So the life relatively becomes free from anxiety, free from worry, free from stress. You have more time for yourself. So conducive for the pursuit of the study of Shastram. Then Jnanam becomes easy. The Jnanam is bound to happen. So with this, the topic of Karma Yoga is completed up to 53rd shloka. So with that, really speaking, the Gita is over. Now this Arjuna, we have to remember, this is a conversation between Arjuna and Bhagavan Krishna. Upadesha of Krishna is over. So two important topics were covered so far. One is Karma Yoga, other one is Jnana Yoga. So Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga completes the complete teaching of Gita. Then Arjuna, having heard, he was curious. He was curious to know how the person who has gained Jnana, how does he conduct himself in the world? Because Arjuna also wanted to become a Jnani. So if he knows how a Jnani behaves, how the Jnani conducts himself in the world, he can follow. He can follow the Jnani, how he handles the situation, how he manages himself, how he manages the people, how does he conduct. So therefore, Arjuna, curious to know, therefore he asked. Therefore, Arjunaha Uvacha, the next shloka, we will read. Another important part of the second chapter. Second chapter is very important. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna
Arjuna
Uvacha.
Uvacha.
Chita Pragyasya ka bhasha.
Prajnasya
Prajnasya
Tamadistasya Keshava
Samadhistasya Keshava
Stitadhiv Kim Prabhasheta
Ikadhi
Prabhasheta
Prabhasheta
Imasita Vrajeta Kim.
Imasita Vrajeta Kim.
So Arjuna wants to know the characteristics of the person, or the person who knows, who has this knowledge of Atma, Atmajnana. Atmajnani, Brahmajnani. So Arjuna wants to know, how does this person behave or conduct himself? The characteristics of the person. So what it really means to be a jnani, that he wants to know. How this jnana will bring in the transformation in my life, and how it is expressed in my life. My life means jnani's life. That Arjuna wants to know. So that Arjuna can follow him. That is why in the beginning of spiritual, we are interested in reading the biography of saints, because we are inspired by them. The statements of Vivekananda are so inspiring. Shivananda inspiring. And we read their biographies, get inspiration, set them as a role model. Like us also, Arjuna was once a role model. The role model right in front of Arjuna is standing, Bhagavan Krishna. He himself is, who else can be the better or the best, other than the best role model in the world, Bhagavan Krishna. He himself is there, but still having been very close with Bhagavan Krishna, probably he missed it to see how he has handled so many difficult situations. In fact, the Pandavas were saved by Krishna in many situations. He is the most wisest person, if at all we can say. That is Bhagavan Krishna. He is Bhagavan. So, but still Arjuna wants to know how a wise person conducts himself, so that he can set that person as his role model. How that jnanam in a person spontaneously, how it is spontaneous, how it can be developed by the mumukshu like us. What is sadhyam, what has been achieved by them, that becomes the means for us, that becomes a sadhanam for us. What is sadhyam, what is already accomplished by them, that becomes the means, the sadhanam for us. That Arjuna wants to know. Swamiji used to say, fake it and make it. You fake it and make it. You fake the characteristics of a jnani so that you can make it. So you can imitate. That's why imitation of Christ by Thomas M. Kempis. It's a beautiful book. Imitation means not wrong imitations. Imitation means you emulate the qualities of a jnani. You emulate the qualities of the jnani so that you become that. Jnanis, they do not emulate. Their natural, the spontaneous behavior, their character is that you deliberately imitate, so that you become like them. That is the idea. That is why Arjuna asked this question. Siddha prajna se ka bhasha? Ka bhasha means definition. What is the bhasha really mean definition? Bhasha means not language here. Bhasha means definition, but here it means description. What is the description? How do you describe a Siddha prajna? Okay, the word Siddha prajna is important. What is Siddha prajna, or who is Siddha prajna? Sthita prajna yasya, the one whose prajna is the buddhi, the knowledge, the wisdom. Buddhi means wisdom. Wisdom, the knowledge is located where? In the buddhi. Therefore, prajna, the wisdom, is sthita. It is strong. It is firm. It is firm, unshakable. The jnanam is unshakable. The one whose jnanam is sthita, firm, unshakable, that person is called Siddha prajna. So Siddha prajna means jnani. Sthitaprajnaha means jnani. And another, two more words he uses. Bhagavan, Arjuna here he uses samadhistaha. That is also means jnani. Samadhistaha. And stitadhihi. That is also means jnani. Different words are used for the same thing to mean the same. That is jnani. Sthitaprajnasya. What is the description of a sthitaprajna? Shashti vibhakti. Sthitaprajnasya. Ka bhasha. What is the description? Samadhistasya Keshava. Hey Keshava, O Lord. Keshava, addressing Bhagavan Krishna. Hey Keshava, Hey Keshava. Samadhistasya, that one who abides in this, in Samadhi. What Samadhi? Samadhi here means abiding in this jnanam. Samadhi is not closing the eye and deep and involved in deep meditation. That is not Samadhi here. Samadhi here doesn't mean Nirvikalpa or Savikalpa Samadhi. Those Nirvikalpa, Savikalpa are the terms used by the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. That is not a Samadhi here. The Samadhi also is the Ashtanga Yoga. That is not a Samadhi here. Yes, Samadhi means, Samadhistasya means the one who abides in this, abides in Atma. Samadhi is Atma. Even the word Samadhi in the previous shloka we saw. Samadho achala buddhihi. Samadhi samyak adiyate yasmin. That in which the buddhi is firmly established. That firm establishment, that jnanam. Jnanam in Atma. Atma jnanam. That is what Samadhi. So the one who abides in this jnanam, Atma jnanam, samadhistasya. Samadhistasya Keshava. E Keshava. Samadhistasya. The one whose mind firmly abides in this Atma. Who is that? This Sthitaprajna. What is the description? And Sthitadihi kim pravasheta. Dihi is buddhi. The one buddhi which is firm. Kim pravasheta. Kim means katam pravasheta. Katam, how does he talk? Bhasheta. Bhash dhatu. Atmanipadi dhatu. Kim pravasheta. Kim is equal to katam. How does he talk? Kimasita. How does he sit? Kim vrajeta. How does he move? Vrajeta. Kim is equal to katam. Kim means what? But here it means katam. How does he talk? How does he sit? How does he walk? Only three things he asked. What is it? Only four things. Description of Sthitaprajna. Then how does he talk? How does he sit? How does he walk? Only the movements. It means everything. Everything is his action, is complete behavior. That's what Bhagavan Krishna wants. That's what Arjuna wants to know. That Bhagavan Krishna understands. Therefore only is going to present Sthitaprajna Lakshanam. The Sthitaprajna Lakshanam starting from the next shloka, 55th shloka to the end of the chapter. Sthitaprajna Lakshanam, the characteristics of a Sthitaprajna, going to be described by Bhagavan. Important section. Because Arjuna is curious to know Sthitaprajna. Because Sthitaprajna is a person who is free from doubts, who has got complete jnanam, total jnanam with regard to Atma. His prajna is steady. So his prajna is steady, he has got complete clarity. There is no confusion with regard to the Swarupa, the nature of himself. So therefore, Arjuna wants to know how this person conducts himself. What are its characteristics? Therefore, he says, how does he talk? How does he walk? We have to separately, how does he eat? How does he see? How does he sleep? All those things have to be implemented. That is everyday activity, daily activity, and special activity, whatever may be the activity. How does he conduct? How does he manage his life? How does he handle the situation? How does he handle the people? How does he handle this emotion? That is what Arjuna wants to know. And that is the Lakshanam, the characteristics going to be presented by Bhagavan in the following shlokas. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. We will read a shloka and we will see the meaning in the next class. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan
सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान्
आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवात्मनातुष्टः
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
हरि ओम गुरु शरण जी। धन्यवाद शरण जी।